All right, so everyone's talking about automation, right? Like it's gonna like solve all our problems,
Ah,
make us more efficient, give us back all this time,
yeah, it's definitely a hot topic. Lots of excitement around it.
for sure. You've been really digging into this whole world of automation. And you sent me this huge stack of like articles and research, and I'm like, okay, we got to do a deep dive into this.
Yeah, absolutely. There's so much to unpack, but I think the real key to unlocking automation success is understanding KPIs.
KPIs, key performance indicators.
Exactly. Think of them as your automation dashboard.
Oh, okay.
They tell you what's humming along nicely and what might need a little tune-up.
Okay, so kind of like our gauges, make sure everything's running smoothly.
Precisely. And in this deep dive, we're going to explore why KPIs are so vital. I mean, you don't want to just automate the wrong things, right?
No, definitely not.
We'll walk through how to define the right KPIs for your specific goals.
Okay, yeah,
And then we'll look at some real world examples, stuff like content marketing, sales funnels, email campaigns, something for everyone.
perfect. I love it. Now, one of the articles you sent over mentioned this set it and forget it trap with automation. What's that all about?
Right, yeah. It's so tempting to think, oh, I'll just set up this automated process and it'll magically take care of everything. But without those KPIs, you're basically flying blind.
Oh, I see.
You could be automating the wrong things or like missing out on ways to make things even better.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's like imagine trying to drive a car with no speedometer or fuel gauge.
Oh, that would be a disaster.
Right. You'd have no idea how fast you're going or if you're about to run out of gas.
So KPIs are like those essential instruments in our automation car, making sure we're on the right track.
Exactly. And they help us answer those crucial questions like, are we actually saving time and resources? Are these automated processes actually working? And most importantly, are we seeing a return on our investment?
Okay, so KPIs are clearly super important. But how do we actually go about like crafting a KPI strategy? Where do we even begin?
Well, the foundation of any good KPI strategy is having crystal clear objectives. Like, what are you really trying to achieve with automation?
Right.
Is it boosting productivity,
Right.
streamlining workflows, generating more leads, or all of the above?
Probably a bit of everything.
Could be. The key is to define those objectives upfront.
Okay.
And then you choose KPIs that directly measure your progress toward those goals. And actually, your sources had some interesting points about cost reduction as an objective.
Oh, yeah, that's a big one. So if our goal is to cut costs through automation, what would be some good KPIs to track?
Well, one obvious one would be the cost per unit produced. Like, compare that before and after you automate.
Oh, that makes sense.
You could also look at how many labor hours you've saved, or even like the reduction in errors, because all of those things can tie back to saving money.
Okay, so we're starting to paint a picture here. But how do we know which KPIs are the most important to focus on? Because it seems like there could be like a million different things to track.
Yeah, that's true. It can feel overwhelming. And that's why it's so important to choose KPIs that are not only measurable, but also super relevant to your specific goals. One of your sources actually highlighted this idea of aligning KPIs with different stages of the customer journey.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Tell me more about that.
So, for example, let's say you're automating marketing to attract new customers.
Right.
You might focus on KPIs like website traffic, lead generation, cost
Yeah.
per acquisition, things like that.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But what if we're more focused on keeping our current customers happy, through automation?
Hmm.
What kind of KPIs would we be looking at then?
Well, in that case, you shift your attention to metrics like customer lifetime value,
Good.
repeat purchase rate, or even customer satisfaction scores. It's all about choosing the KPIs that really show the impact of automation, but like on different parts of your business.
So KPIs are like different lenses we can use
Yeah.
to see how well our automation is working from all these different angles.
Exactly. And by looking at these metrics, you get all these valuable insights, right?
Yeah.
Insights that can help you tweak your automation and really achieve those results you're looking for. Now, I know you do a lot with content marketing,
I do, yeah.
so let's dive into some real-world examples there.
Perfect. Yeah, let's get specific.
All right, so one KPI you mentioned in your notes was click-through rate or CTR.
CTR.
Yeah.
That tells us how many people are clicking on our blog post links. From social media, email newsletters, all that.
Right. And a high CTR basically means your content is hitting the mark.
Got it.
It shows your headlines are grabbing attention, people find your content relevant, your calls to action are working, all good things.
Right. But what if our CTR is kind of, low? What does that
Yeah.
tell us?
Well, a low CTR could mean a few things. Maybe your headlines aren't quite as catchy as you think,
Okay.
or maybe the content itself isn't really what your audience is looking for.
Yeah, that's possible.
It could also mean you're promoting it in the wrong places, like wrong channels or wrong audience segments.
Oh, that's a good point. So it's not just about getting people to click, it's about getting the right people to click.
Exactly. You want people who are genuinely interested in what you have to offer, and that's where looking at CTR alongside other metrics can be really helpful. For example, say you have a high CTR, but a high bounce rate on your blog posts.
Hmm. What does that mean?
Well, it could mean that your headlines are super enticing, people are clicking,
Right.
but then they get to the content and they're like, not what I was expecting.
Oh, I see. So the content isn't delivering on the promise of that catchy headline.
Exactly. So you have to look at the whole picture, use different KPIs to really get a sense of how your content is performing. Now, what other content marketing KPIs should we be paying attention to?
Well, social shares are a big one for me. How many people are sharing our content on their own social media?
Right. That's a great indicator of how much buzz your content is creating. Lots of shares. Means people find it valuable enough to share with their network.
Exactly. And that can really help amplify our reach, right?
Absolutely. More traffic, more potential leads or customers, all good things.
For sure. But what if our social shares are like crickets? What can we do about that?
Well, it might mean your content isn't quite hitting those emotional notes, the things that make people want to share, or maybe it's not providing enough value.
Okay, yeah, I can see that.
It could also be a sign that you're not actively promoting your content on social media or engaging with your audience enough.
So it's not just about creating great content. It's also about being strategic with how we share it and interact with our audience.
You got it. Now, let's shift gears a bit. Let's talk about sales funnels. I know you're interested in improving lead generation through automation.
Oh yeah, definitely. Big priority for me. What kind of KPIs can help us see how well our automated lead generation is working?
Well, conversion rate is a huge one.
Okay.
This tells you what percentage of people entering your sales funnel actually become leads.
So like if we have a landing page to capture leads, conversion rate tells us how many people who visit that page actually fill out the form.
Exactly. And a high conversion rate means your landing page is doing its job, persuading people to take action. Strong messaging, enticing offer, user-friendly form, all the pieces are working together.
Right, but what if our conversion rate is, well, kind of sad. Where do we even start trying to fix that?
Well, it could be a bunch of things. Maybe your landing page copy isn't clear or persuasive enough.
Okay.
Maybe your offer isn't aligned with what your audience actually wants. Or maybe there are some technical issues on the page that are preventing people from converting.
So it's like we need to look at every little detail on that landing page. Find any friction points that might be tripping people up.
Exactly. And this is where A/B testing can be your best friend. Try different headlines, images, calls to action, form layouts. See what resonates with your audience and gets them to convert.
Okay, love that idea.
Yeah.
It's all about using data to make our landing pages better. So what other KPIs are helpful for sales funnels?
Cost per lead, or CPL for short.
CPL, right.
Yeah.
We want to make sure our automated lead generation isn't just effective, but also cost-effective.
Exactly. CPL tells you how much it costs, on average, to get one new lead through your automated sales funnel.
So if we divide our total marketing spend on lead generation by the number of leads we got, that gives us our CPL.
Yep, you got it. And by watching your CPL over time, you can spot any trends. See if anything weird is happening. For example, if your CPL keeps going up, it might mean your lead generation tactics aren't working as well as they used to.
Or maybe the competition is heating up and driving up costs.
Could be. It's a good reminder to stay on top of things and adapt your strategies as needed to keep that cost per lead in check. Now, let's move on to email marketing. Automation's a huge part of that world. Nurturing leads, driving conversions, the whole nine yards.
Absolutely. What kind of KPIs should we be looking at in our email marketing?
Well, open rate is a good place to start. That tells you what percentage of people who get your emails actually open them.
Right. A good open rate means our subject lines are doing their job and we're sending relevant stuff to the right people.
Exactly. But what if your open rates are lower than you'd like? What could be going on there?
Well, it could be that our subject lines aren't very catchy. Or maybe we're not segmenting our email list well, sending the right message to the right people.
Right. It could even mean that your sender reputation has taken a hit and your emails are ending up in spam folders. not good.
Definitely not. So it's like we have to pay attention to every little detail, from the sender name to the subject line to the content itself, to make sure our emails are actually getting seen and read.
Exactly. And again, A/B testing can be really helpful here. Try different subject line variations, preview text, even sending times. See what gets the best results.
Okay, open rates, check. What about click-through rates? Those are important too, right?
Oh, absolutely. Those tell you how many people are clicking on the links in your emails. A good click-through rate means your content is engaging, your calls to action are clear, and you're guiding your subscribers toward the action you want them to take.
So whether it's visiting a landing page, downloading something, or making a purchase, a high click-through rate means we're on the right track.
Exactly. Now, what if your click-through rates are a little disappointing? What could be happening there?
Well, maybe our content isn't interesting enough. Or maybe our calls to action are weak or confusing. Maybe the design of our emails is making them hard to read.
All possibilities. It's all about making sure your email content is not just informative, but also visually appealing and easy to navigate. And don't forget about personalization. Tailoring your emails to each subscriber's interests can make a huge difference in their engagement and how likely they are to click.
Personalization, that's a good point.
Oh,
Okay, so we've got open rates, click-through rates, and all these other email marketing KPIs. What about tools? Are there any tools or resources out there that can help us track all this data and make sense of it?
Oh, yeah, there are tons of tools out there that can make your life a lot easier. Let's start with the big one, Google Analytics.
Google Analytics, the go-to for all things website data.
It really is a powerhouse. It
Yeah.
gives you so much information about how people are using your website. Page views, unique visitors, bounce rates, time on site, you name it.
And it's free, which is amazing.
Can't beat that. Google Analytics also lets you segment your audience, track conversions, and analyze how well your marketing campaigns are working. If you want to understand your website's performance, this is a must-have tool.
Okay, Google Analytics is definitely on my list. Now,
Yeah.
you also mentioned Google Search Console. How does that one work with Google Analytics?
So Google Analytics is all about website traffic and user behavior. But Google Search Console is more focused on how your website is doing in Google search results.
So it's like having a direct line to Google, seeing what they see when they look at our website.
Pretty much. You can track your keyword rankings, monitor your backlinks, and even find any technical issues that might be hurting your visibility and search results.
Wow, okay, Google Search Console sounds super helpful, especially if we rely on organic search traffic.
Absolutely. And of course, we can't forget about social media. It's such a big part of the digital landscape these days. And there are tons of social media management platforms out there that can help us track our social media KPIs.
I've heard of tools like Hootsuite, Buffer, Sprout Social. What are the main benefits of using those kinds of platforms?
Well, they can streamline your social media efforts big time. You can schedule posts, track engagement, analyze your audience demographics, even manage your social media ads all in one place.
It's like having a virtual social media assistant.
Exactly. They save you time, make you more efficient, and help you make data-driven decisions to really rock your social media presence.
Okay, those platforms are definitely going on my list to check out. Now let's talk about tools for email marketing. What can help us track our email KPIs and make our campaigns even better?
Most email marketing platforms like MailChimp, ActiveCampaign, Constant Contact, they all have built-in analytic dashboards.
Right?
So you can track open rates, click-through rates, unsubscribe rates, all that good stuff.
It's like having a bird's eye view of our email performance. We can see exactly how people are reacting to our emails and pinpoint areas where we can improve.
Exactly. And a lot of these platforms also offer A/B testing, so you can experiment with different subject lines, email content, calls to action, and see what works best.
It's like a science lab for our email marketing. We can test and tweak our way to success.
Exactly. The key is to choose tools that fit your specific needs and KPIs, and then use them consistently to monitor your progress and make smart, data-driven decisions.
This deep dive into KPIs and automation has been amazing. I feel so much more equipped to tackle these concepts and make better decisions for my business.
That's great to hear. Just remember, the world of automation is always changing, so stay curious, experiment, and never stop learning.
I love that. This conversation has given me so many ideas, and I'm ready to start putting them into action.
That's awesome. I'm sure you'll do great things with automation. It's all about finding the right tools and strategies to achieve your unique business goals.
So we've been talking about all these KPIs and how important they are for making automation work for us.
Right. It's like we've built this whole toolkit for making automation smarter and more effective.
Yeah.
Exactly. We've talked about choosing the right KPIs, aligning them with our goals, using them to guide our automation strategies. But now I'm thinking, what are some of the common mistakes people make with all this? Pitfalls to watch out for.
Oh, yeah. There are definitely some traps people fall into. One of the biggest ones is jumping into automation without a clear plan.
Oh, yeah.
They get so excited about the technology, but they don't stop and think about what they're really trying to achieve or how they'll measure success.
So it's like setting off on a road trip with no map and no destination in mind.
Exactly. Yeah, know where you're going and how you'll know when you get there. Define those objectives up front. Choose KPIs that directly reflect those goals. That's crucial.
Makes sense. What else do people mess up?
Another common mistake is getting caught up in vanity metrics.
Ah, vanity metrics. Those are the ones that look good on paper, but don't really tell us much about how our business is doing, like social media, likes, and followers. Yep, classic example. Those numbers might make you feel good, but they don't necessarily translate into real business results. Focus on KPIs that give you actionable insights.
Right. Metrics that tell us what's working, what's not, and how to make things better.
Exactly. We got to look beyond the surface and really dig into the data to understand what's going on.
Got it. Any other common pitfalls we should be aware of?
Yeah, one more big one is forgetting to review and adjust your KPIs as your business changes.
No, that's a good point. Our goals and priorities can shift over time, and our KPIs need to keep up.
Exactly. It's not a one-time thing. You have to constantly evaluate and refine. Are your current KPIs still relevant? Are they giving you the insights you need to make smart decisions?
Okay, so it's an ongoing process. We got to stay flexible and adapt our KPI strategy as things change.
Got it. Now, what about some tips for making the most of automation and KPIs, like best practices?
Absolutely. One of the best things you can do is start small and iterate. I love that. We don't have to automate everything all at once. We can start with a few key processes and build from there.
Exactly. Pick a process that's ripe for automation, define your KPIs, implement it, and then watch those results closely.
Okay.
Use what you learn to fine-tune your approach and then gradually expand to other areas of your business.
So it's a step-by-step journey. No need to rush it.
Exactly. Another good practice is documenting everything. Your automation processes, how you're tracking your KPIs.
Makes sense. That way everyone's on the same page and we have a clear record of what we're doing.
Exactly. It makes onboarding new team members easier, helps with troubleshooting, keeps everything organized.
Okay, documentation, check. Any other tips to help us navigate this world of automation and KPIs effectively?
Yeah, don't be afraid to experiment. Try different things, analyze the results, and iterate based on what you learn.
It's all about that data-driven mindset. Use that data to drive continuous improvement.
You got it. And don't forget to celebrate your wins along the way.
Oh, that's important. It's easy to get so caught up in everything that we forget to pause and appreciate the progress we've made.
Celebrating those successes keeps your team motivated, reinforces good habits, and inspires you to keep innovating.
Great advice.
Yeah.
Well, this whole deep dive into KPIs and automation has been so insightful. I feel like I have a much deeper understanding of how to make these concepts work for me.
That's fantastic to hear. Just remember, this is a constantly evolving field, so stay curious, keep experimenting, and never stop learning.
I will. This conversation has given me so many new ideas. I'm excited to start putting them into action.
That's awesome. I'm sure you'll do great things. And remember, there are tons of resources out there to help you along the way.
That's good to know. Well, this has been an incredibly informative and inspiring episode of The Deep Dive. A huge thank you to our expert for sharing their wisdom and to all our listeners for joining us on this journey. Until next time, keep diving deep and keep automating smarter.